On today's Moving the Chains, a recurring guest, Jerel, Scoot Watson, the new head man for the Greenville Red Raiders.
Yeah, man. Coach Watson has done a phenomenal job there in Greenville County, especially at JL Mann. That's when we caught up with him a couple of years ago, and just done some great things. That's led him to this Red Raiders job. So excited to see what he's going to do there, and really happy he was able to join us today.
Yeah, a guy who's had a ton of success, man. A lot of fun to talk to. Hope you guys enjoy it. Once again, Scoot Watson, Greenville Red Raiders head football coach here on Moving the Chains.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.
Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. Got a great interview today, a very special guest, a recurring guest now. That's the new head coach of the Greenville Red Raiders, Scoot Watson. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Well, we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all other podcast platforms. Coach Watson was hired in January. He was the head coach at JL Mann for the past 5 seasons with a record of 32-24. Prior, he spent time at Greer, Travelers Rest, St. Joe's, and Greenville. Coach, let's start there. Like, what's that transition been like? Going from a one county program to another, but getting over there into the Greenville building.
It's been a good transition. Obviously having been there before, there's a lot of familiarity with a lot of people in the building. Track coach, who's one of my best friends, Coach Carson, whose father's from TR, by the way.
Love that. Okay, go Devil Dogs.
So being able to coach with him again has been awesome, and a lot of the same people are still there. So. It's been pretty smooth.
Coach, we're catching up with you. I think it's been about 3 seasons since we had you on the show last time when you were in the midst of that great run there at JL Mann. But, for the listeners who haven't been following us that long and want to get an update, if you don't mind telling us about your coaching career and how you got to this point as the head man of the Greenville Red Raiders.
Yeah, man. So, I started off, as a volunteer assistant at Greer back in 2002 with Coach, late great Travis Perry. Was fortunate enough for him to give me an opportunity as a kid right out of college. And then fast forward to 2007, I went to Greenville High and coached under Jim Soulsby and Phil Magdick. I was there from 2007 to 2014. Got an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator there, and Coach Mag gave me an opportunity there. So that really jump-started everything for me. In terms of getting the opportunity to even be able to be a head coach. And then after that, after Coach Mag's tenure, I ended up going to TR for a season and then coached at JL Mann and, then coached at TR for 1 season and then became the head coach at JL Mann for 5. So, yeah, man.
Coach, you got hired pretty early in the cycle, really, compared to a lot of other coaches. Was that helpful as far as being able to build out your staff? Were you able to retain a lot of guys, bring some new guys in? And if you don't mind, kind of shout out a few of those, maybe new names or even just old names there at Greenville.
Yeah, so I was able to keep Chris Evans, who's coaching linebackers with me. He's also our strength coach. He's an awesome hire. I was able to keep Brad Bowens, who's working on the offensive line. And then I brought the majority of my staff with me from JL Mann, so which kind of made things a whole lot smooth, with those guys. Coach Clarence Lewis, he's another one who's been at Greenville, but ironically spent a lot of his career at JL Mann under Mickey Crocker and the late great Joe Watson. So it's been great to have him around and. He's been working with our DBs and, really a great mentor for the kids and a great mentor for me too. So, having him there has been awesome. Dana Purdy is with us again. Coach D-line for us at JL Mann last year. He's a 37-year vet, did a whole lot of great things down in the Midlands. Awesome coach. Then I talked about Coach Carson earlier. He'll be there. He'll be our co-DC. He'll also be coaching D-line with Ty Harrison and Nico Ross be coaching DBs, and John Avant, giving him an opportunity to be the offensive coordinator. He's our O-line coach at Mann. He does an awesome job, man. A lot of energy, a lot of fire. So we've got a solid staff. Some young guys too that's coming along and doing some good stuff with Caleb Franklin, coaching receivers. Jason Leonard, we hired him from Eastside. He's doing a good job with receivers as well. And Zach Taylor, who's a guy that I think will at some point be one of the better offensive coordinators in the area. I mean, he's a wonderkin when it comes to that air raid offense. He's done a good job in the past for us, and really learned a lot over the past 3 years coaching on our staff at Mann. So he's been an awesome addition for us.
Coach, let's jump into the X's and O's a little bit. You're defensive guru, so we know that you're going to have your hands all over the defense. For the folks listening in, what kind of schemes do you plan on implementing there on that side of the ball? And then as far as offense, like what should we expect? Are we going to see some air raid concepts, or what are you guys planning on doing on that side?
Well, defensively, we'll continue to be multiple. We'll be out front at times. We'll be even front at times. We always have a few new tweaks, every year, that we go to clinics and find stuff that we want to use. But yeah, we'll continue to do what we do, be an attacking style defense, multiple coverage defense, in multiple fronts. Offensively, we're excited about our kids, our receiving core and quarterbacks. We've got some guys that are doing a good job so far this summer, competing in 7-on-7s and competing for that QB spot. So we'll definitely be air raid on paper, but we'll do whatever's necessary to win a ball game. If that means running it 40 times to win it, that's what we'll do. If it means throwing it 40 times, then that's what we'll do. So we'll definitely plan on being multiple.
Coach, you played under some great coaches. You've coached with a lot of great coaches as well. Who are some guys that have really, maybe helped mold you into the type of style that you like to coach today? And just who are some guys you still kind of even pick things from this day and age?
Yeah. So, of course, Coach Perry, I learned a lot, coaching under him, Phil Smith, Reuben Wright, my Greer guys, obviously, I learned a lot just by watching them, watching how they work. Reuben, who's at Wade Hampton right now, he was one of my position coaches in high school, so he's been an awesome mentor for me. So I love to pick his brain and, just talk to him a lot, about this everyday stuff, but right now, it's rare for me to have the opportunity to talk to a lot of guys. I don't have as many guys outside of, the guys that I grew up, knowing and coaching with. Phil Magda, obviously, he was, a defensive guy, defense guru. Troy Bow, who's up in Wisconsin, he was a DC at Daniel and at Greenville at one time. I really learned a whole heck of a lot of football as a younger coach, from him. He taught me a whole lot, him and Coach Mag, so, I've been blessed to have those guys as mentors. And, I talked to Coach Bow a couple of weeks ago, to ask some questions about some calls and how we can change some stuff up, so, it's been great to have, a few of those guys in my corner, so it's been pretty good, for me.
Coach, we hit the X's and O's. It's time to circle back to the Jimmies and Joes, man. Who are some guys that we need to be on the lookout for, on this Greenville roster?
Yeah, I think I would say for us, our breakout player on offense in the spring, who I was extremely shocked, by, was Messiah Bell. He's a running back. Right now, he's an under the radar kid. He had an awesome spring, having a great summer. Extremely physical back, not very big, but just a physical guy, especially in pass pro. A lot of times you get these backs, they want to run the ball, they want to catch the ball. But what we've been impressed with is his ability to step up, and protect, and strike linebackers, in pass pro. So he's really stuck out a lot. At receiver, Ben Renfro, and I'm sure you guys heard the Renfro name. That's Hunter's little cousin. he's coming along well. He's had a good summer so far, and then, defensively, Jacob Christie's doing a great job for us at linebacker. We've got Franklin Whitley, 6'7", 268-pound defensive end, just got a Georgia offer a couple weeks ago, who's, had a great 2 months. Of course, he won a state title as a basketball player, been playing basketball for a lot of years, and, finally decided that he was going to play football. And, man, has he blown up. He's blown up, and, he's continuing to develop. Just finished watching some film from the day's practice earlier, and he's getting better, man. He's getting better every day, and it's a freak of an athlete, So we got a couple guys that we're excited about. Then at quarterback, we got Trip Bryant, came over from Man, who's doing a pretty good job for us. Him and Holden Powell, they've been battling it out, this summer, for that start spot. So, both of those guys bring some firepower, at the QB position. So, we're excited about what we have. A little bit different from years past that you're used to seeing at Greenville. We probably won't be dressing 60 guys out on a Friday night, 70 guys out, but we'll have a solid group that we'll put out on the field and hopefully be pretty competitive this year.
Coach, that's a great PSA too. I always see the post about, if you're 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", go play some football. Don't just take the basketball. We'll put you in tight end, DN, something like that. So I love that. I love that there for Franklin, man. But we mentioned it. You got hired early on. You were there through spring practice. What were you able to learn about your group throughout that time?
First off, man, they were a very young group, man. A lot of 10th graders, a lot of 11th graders. Not a lot of rising seniors. Which is a positive, and it could be seen by some coaches as a negative. You want to have more veteran guys. A lot of times when you have a 30 or more seniors, you could typically expect to have a pretty solid season. But with us right now, it's great because we were able to develop the kids that we have. With them being so young, a lot of them probably should have been playing JV football last year, but, had to play varsity football out of necessity. So, a lot of those kids have grown in our weight program and gotten bigger, gotten stronger, and developing real well right now. So, definitely excited about, the maturation process with our, 10th and 11th grade group. So, they're doing a good job right now.
Coach, we're catching you in mid-July, so we're wrapping up 7-on-7 season and getting prepared for fall camp. How did that go for you, especially managing a quarterback battle? And are you a fan of it, especially, with your defensive background? And did you guys get into any 11-11 stuff?
So, man, we went to we normally go to 5 colleges. This year would have been our first year there. We went to 3. And then we finished up at the Burns, the Palmetto Showdown a couple of weeks ago, right before the dead week. So, we had some success, really learned a lot about our guys. You asked if I was a fan of it. When I came up in it, in 2007, that was kind of when, it kind of started popping off in terms of 7-on-7s. And, being at Greenville back in those days, it was a big deal. To take kids, and do some team bonding, travel out and throw and take your OL and DL and put them in camp. And, so it's been good for us to bond as a team, and then develop a little bit of timing. You hear a lot of coaches talk about, it's an opportunity for us to develop timing in our passing game. Well, timing is not developed until there's, the big uglies in your face, putting pressure on you,
Oh, yeah.
So, but it was definitely good in terms of us, installing our scheme and getting some reps, get some good quality reps, and get some good competition. So, we had a pretty solid summer.
Coach, you had done a great job of really building up that program at JL Mann, turning them into a contender each and every year. You had it rolling a good direction there. What was it that really stood out about the Greenville job when it came open that made you want to make that move over there to the Red Raiders?
Well, really it was the potential, what it could be. It was, for me, it was easier to entertain it, after, Coach Shaw decided to step down rather than after, Coach Porter. I mean, who would once? It's almost like, and Porter's a good friend of mine. It's almost like kind of following like a Nick Saban type situation. Not quite, but you know what I'm saying. A guy that's had a whole lot of success, at a place. 3 straight upper state championship game appearances. And then for me, I love the challenge of building. So for me, I just felt like it was a great opportunity. And then the boss lady always made the final choice. We prayed about it. We happened to be in the Bahamas during Christmas. Coach Scully Meyer, who was our AD at Greenville, good friend of mine. Right before he passed away, me and him talked, and he extended the offer of the job, and we prayed about it, and we wanted to make it happen. The vision that he gave me was clear what he wanted. And I trusted him, and decided, to take that step, after praying and, consulting with my wife. So, I mean, it's been good. It's been different. It's been a challenge. Obviously, it's been challenging, but, we accept those type of challenges, man, and just definitely looking forward to the future, with the program. So.
Coach, I appreciate you bringing up your predecessor. Coach Porter did a fantastic job leading that program, put a bunch of guys at P4 schools, and like you said, going to upper state championships every year. And then obviously it didn't work out with Coach Shaw. He was only here for a year and went back to Georgia. Right. But getting in the building, you said you like to build programs. What was something that you identified early on that, like, hey, I'm going to make this a Scoot Watson type program? What was one thing that you can single out that you said, I got to change this or I got to do this?
Oh, the weight room. The weight room. I mean, that's the key to it. That's the key to it. You got to get the kids down in to training hard, lifting, and being consistent, in lifting. One of the things that we've done, in the summer, we're a 5-day-a-week program. We're not a 3-day-a-week program, a 4-day-a-week program. So we're training every day. Fridays, we're training. So just getting the kids bought into that. That's probably the biggest challenge, but that's where you have to hang your hat right out the gate. Is getting the kids committed to training, and committed to, resisting comfortable situations, getting them out of their comfort zone.
Coach, Greenville has always had a really good, fan base, really good parent support there, community support. How will they, embrace you and your efforts as you've kind of taken over this program and start to make it your own?
Yeah, well, we're still in that process. We're still in that process. Of course. At Greenville, they're used to winning. And last year they didn't have a great season, so, a lot of people have been on eggshells. A lot of people, obviously were excited about me, taking over the job and, actually having some experience coaching there before, but, it's been a process, because, anytime you got to, make changes, and kind of, get people out of their comfort zone. Sometimes it can be, there could be a little bit of resistance, but so far it's been pretty good. The support's been pretty solid, so far.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with the Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
Couple easier ones here for you, Coach. Let you go tonight. Maybe it's in your home office on a home game or on the bus to an away game. But what's on your pregame playlist as you get ready to hit the field on Friday nights?
Oh man, so I've been Black Thought would be one.
Okay.
A real MC, I would say. Obviously Nas, probably Jadakiss. I always have to sprinkle in some, some gospel. I've been listening to King George lately. We've been tripping out on that, in the stadium when we run on Fridays. It's Friday night. I don't know if you heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, man. So this old school stuff, this basic old school stuff.
Real MCs, real lyrics. That's what you like.
Real MCs. Don't want to be too hyped, because obviously I'm not playing, right? So, you want something kind of mellow right there in the middle, to kind of have you locked in and ready to roll. So
I love it. Coach, this question's coming. You've been on here before. We ask about food, ask about restaurants. I'm from Greenville. Kevin been in Greenville for the last 10 years or so. You're from the area too. So I'm going to say, what's one of your favorite restaurants always go to in the Greenville area? And then what's a restaurant that's new on the radar that you've kind of been going to, maybe on a date night with your wife or something like that?
So the Clock and Greer, obviously I'm from Greer, so, I get my hair cut in Greer. My parents are there, I go to the barbershop, I do everything there. So obviously that's a staple, and I'm trying to think. It's a place downtown Greenville we went to. We don't get to go there very often, but we went there once. It's a steakhouse. God almighty.
Halls.
Can't beat it.
Oh, man, I'm not a crazy steak guy. I'm not crazy about steak, but that experience, was unreal. Old country boy like me from Greer, man, going and sitting there and eating in there. I didn't know how to act, man. But it was an awesome experience. Me and my wife, got a chance to go there. So that's a date night type of spot there.
I got to say, Clock and Greer, my mom lives closer to that area in Greenville. She lives off Pelham Road. She loves Clock and Greer. That's her favorite one to go to. And then Halls, the good thing about people listening, you can hit that across the state. It's Charleston, Columbia, Greenville. That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Well, last one here for you, Coach. I know it's still early, so you hadn't got into the season prep too deep yet, but maybe what are some goals you guys have set for 2025 for that Greenville program?
We was kind of talking about this the other day. I mean, right now, we just the goal is to make sure that we're executing on both sides of the ball. Be executed, be solid within our scheme. And then obviously, we always want to start the season 1-0. As simple as that. We want to be prepared for the first game. We've got some tough scrimmages and jamboree competition. So, we want to be well prepared heading into week 0 against Dorman, and so got to be on point in terms of our schematics. So that's the main goal right now.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go follow Coach Watson and the Greenville program on social media. They do a great job posting updates on their kids and their program. Check them out on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on all social media. MovingTheChains.com is our website and our podcast on all podcast platforms. Moving the Chains brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Jerel, anything else for Coach? Let him go today.
Hey, Coach, thank you so much for your time. This one's special. You're from Greenville. I'm from Greenville, man. So it's good to see, you making your mark in the county and really, especially what you've done at Mann and then going to Greenville here, man, just really putting on for the upstate and football there. And then also coming back on the show with us. You were one of the first ones to kind of take a chance. We caught you mid-season doing a coach's interview. So we sincerely appreciate that. Wish you continued success, and we hope to get you on again soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate what you guys are doing for high school football as well, man. Y'all do an awesome job.
Appreciate that, Coach. Look forward to stopping by a practice or game. Get to see you again here soon, and best of luck this season, all right?
All right, thanks. Appreciate you.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.